for me, my children! When last we left Jack Russell, the werewolf by night, he had once again slain someone who had hoped to use his lycanthropy to their evil advantage. Let's see if that trend continues, shall we? What else had happened was that he had given the Darkhold a strange and centuries-old tome that may be able to reverse his werewolfism to religious scholar Father Jacques to translate. Well, as we begin the third issue, he has finished his translation, and it is a nightmare that will unfold upon the world. He tries to call Jack to tell him of what he has learned, but he fails to see a mist emanate from the book and overtake him. Jack quickly leaves to investigate when the father is cut off, but halfway to the father's rectory, he spots it. The full moon! He had taken a sleeping pill earlier to see if that would ward off the transformation, but in his rush, he had forgotten about the whole thing. And thus, while driving the borrowed car of his friend Buck Cowan, he transforms into a lycanthrope once again. Werewolf by freeway! After leaping out of the car, which went over a cliff at a bend at the road, the werewolf is compelled to proceed towards the rectory by the lingering thoughts of Jack Russell. Meanwhile, Jack's sister, Lissa, overhears her stepfather on the phone, discussing how said stepfather paid off a missing man named Grant, whom Jack had suspected of killing their mother. To Lissa, this confirms Jack's suspicions and goes off to tell her brother of this. Jack arrives at the rectory to find Father Jacques' body possessed by a man calling himself Aelfric, the Mad Monk. Aelfric uses the magic of the Darkhold, or Book of Sins as he calls it, to show his life story. How 800 years ago, he worked as a monk in a monastery. But secretly, he actually served Satan. When the other monks discovered the true object of his worship, they forced him out and he killed the knight patron of the local king, who would no doubt be rather upset that his representative was killed and taken out on their village. Said villagers tied him to a stake and burnt him, though he laughed that while his flesh might burn away, his eternal soul shall live on. Scavengers pilfered his remains after his death, discovering cursed scrolls in the ashes. They sold them to a scholar, who in turn was murdered by a bandit, and so forth. Each person who held them finding themselves killed over the centuries until they arrived in the hands of Jack's father, who bound the scrolls into a book, the Darkhold. Once he translated the scrolls himself, he unleashed a dormant demon within those pages, turning him into a werewolf. By night, even! Aelfric lacked the strength at the time to control Jack's father, but he thinks he has it now against Jack. He restrains the werewolf while Lissa discovers where Jack has gone and decides to head there herself. Soon, though, she finds some policemen blocking the road, until a mist rolls in that reduces one of the cops to bones, a result of Aelfric's plans for the world. She plows on through to get to the rectory, even spotting another security guard who meets a similar fate. I'm down for the Mad Monk's plan if we really are just turning everyone into skeletons. Aelfric discovers her, and, like every other time she is confronted with something horrifying, feigns to not see anything of significance. He takes her inside, planning on using her for some other purpose, but Jack finally breaks free. To protect himself and advance his plan, the Mad Monk summons for Dragonus, a minotaur-like being, to fight it out with him. However, during the fight, the werewolf is able to trip Dragonus so that its horns stabbed Aelfric. It freed Father Jacques from the possession and sent Dragonus away, but also killed him. And Jack? He takes Lissa's body off with him for the next issue. Various forces continue their designs on the werewolf. Will any of them succeed? Well, let's see about that in the next issue.
What the?